It's the Great Model Railway Challenge,
where each week 3 teams of expert modellers make a run for the points.
And 2 levers.
Let's get this show on the road.
The Great Model Railway Challenge is all about incredible layouts.
Controversy.
I'm worried that's a possible infringement of the rules and could lead to an unfair advantage.
And lashings of tea and cake.
That'll set my diabetes off a treat. Oh dear.
Series 1 saw Aberdeen Model Railway Club crowned champions.
Now 15 new teams of virtuoso modellers are taking a shot at the title.
But with more rounds to get through
and harder challenges to overcome,
the competition's going to be even tougher.
Oh my word, but fire on the track!
The 4 teams who reach the grand final
Blast off!
will do battle to win a coveted stand at the UK's most prestigious model railway exhibition.
And the honour of being declared the new champions
of the Great Model Railway Challenge. Only 1 team will advance automatically to the semi-finals, so this heat will be hard fought.
The teams slugging it out this time are
the 3 Millers, modelling traditionalists with a taste for danger.
We're taking a few risks, a few of the things we're trying. This is the first time that's going to be tested out for real. So we may have a few problems that we've got to fix along the way.
Who's Counting Rivets, a tech-savvy team with youth on their side.
This is like the Chelsea flower show for model railways. We've got some great talent here. It's going to be amazing. We're going to produce something that's absolutely excellent.
And the Titfield Thunderbolts, solo artists who come together to form a modelling supergroup.
We're feeling really confident. It's going to be a good challenge and we're going to enjoy it.
As always, the teams have just 3 days to build layouts that they think best depict this heat's theme.
Uncharted Territory.
Welcome to the Great Model Railway Challenge. The theme for this week is Uncharted Territory.
That's right. We want you to make layouts that are going to take us somewhere we've never been before.
So, for example, for Steve, it could be the Cash Point.
Ooh. Or maybe a fashionable clothes store for Tim.
Or for Mr. Egg in a Nest, if you want to go there, the Barbers.
Kathy and Steve will be judging your layouts on creativity, build quality, and most importantly of all, the F word, functionality.
And you only have 3 days in which to complete your layouts, and your time starts now, like now. Go, go, go.
The teams have been issued with identical baseboards on which to build their Uncharted Territory layouts. The theme, an invitation to venture to places lesser modellers fear to tread.
Going along for the ride will be our judges, award-winning master modeller and vlogist, Kathy Millett.
I want to see some out-of-the-box thinking, but I also want to see some superb modelling. I want it to be perfect.
And the editor of the UK's leading model railway magazine, Stern's Steve Flint.
I expect to be taken on incredible journeys way beyond the normal boundaries of railway modelling.
The team's journey into the unknown won't get very far without properly laid track.
Named after a 1950s Ealing comedy, the newly assembled Titfield Thunderbolts hope to be lightning quick, rain in this heat, and storm into the semis.
Kathy, this is the Titfield Thunderbolts.
Hiya.
And this is Kevin,
Right.
Kathy, and I'm James. So, the first thing I want to ask you about is the team, because how long have you been actually modelling together?
This is the first time working together.
Am I right in thinking that the theme for your layout is inspired by the vastly popular computer game Uncharted?
We thought we'd take some ideas from that, add our own in, bring it alive a little bit more, make it a 3D rather than a computer game.
The Thunderbolts layout will transport us to a jungle-covered island where a tiger moth plane has crash-landed. After salvaging the treasure from a sunken galleon, our 2 heroes will board an N-gauge train, narrowly avoiding a gun battle between British and Nazi forces before making good their escape in an animated getaway boat. Phew!
Oh, it sounds amazing. Kathy, the one concern perhaps for you at this point is that there's almost too much for them to do?
It is. It's very ambitious. And I suspect you've got a lot of scenery, you've got a lot of effects to get working. Will you get it done in 3 days?
100%.
OK.
100%. I have total confidence in our team.
Even though you've only just met?
Yep.
Excellent. We're going to have fun watching you do it.
Brilliant.
Crack on.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Next up, it's risk takers, the Three Millers. They're taking the theme Uncharted Territory quite literally and using an approach on their layout that we've never seen before.
Wim. Hello, mate. Tim.
Hi.
How you doing? Nice to meet you. And this is Steve.
Hi, Steve.
So you're the team captain of the Three Millers.
Yeah.
I'm assuming millers is millimetres.
Yeah.
What's that then? What's that referring to?
Well, we're members of the 3mm Society. 3mm scale is one that sits in between 00 and N.
Right.
So it's a bit smaller than 00,
OK.
bigger than N.
Wim's team of daredevils are attempting to make model railway history.
We are going to try and recreate a historical situation. And that will require us using real water to simulate the tide coming in and the tide going out.
While electricity and water can be a lethal combination, because of the low voltages used in model railways, there's no danger here of electrocution. But there are other risks involved.
It could be very embarrassing if it doesn't work.
So tell us a bit about this layout, because if you don't mind me saying, instantly my attention is drawn to the central section here. Something's very different here, and it concerns me.
You may have heard of the floods in 1953.
Right.
Major floods around the North Sea. It affected England, but it hit the Netherlands much worse. It also destroyed the railway network in that area. Now, because the dikes are broken, they couldn't repair the railway line in the normal manner. So what we're doing is we're reproducing how they overcame that situation in 1953 by building a low dam, which secured the track bed, but then they could only run it at low tide.
So this was a train track that half of its life lived underwater.
Yeah.
Don't tell me you're recreating that here.
We are.
Reenacting the North Sea flood of 1953 will pose a huge technical challenge for the millers. If their locking floodgates don't hold, then the real water they're using to flood their layout will short out their electrics and wreck their trains. A cottage, scrapyard and farm buildings could also be lost in the deluge, rendering their layout a very damp squib.
Are you barking mad?
Probably.
Steve, am I here? Is this actually happening? Pinch me.
Rail water and model railways don't mix very well.
No, they don't.
I mean, this is really adventurous and definitely risky. So I hope you can make it work.
We know we're taking a risk here, but that really is
just a
the
little
aim
bit.
of this competition, isn't it?
Good luck. Rather you than me. Come on, Steve.
Hello, Guion.
All right.
That looks interesting.
Yeah.
In fact, everything looks interesting here. So, OK, you are Who's Counting Rivets. What's it mean?
It's just poking fun at rivet counters, the armchairs out there who spend too much time obsessing over fine details that really don't matter.
This team of next-generation modellers are keen to push forward the boundaries of traditional railway modelling.
Our team is mainly going to be focusing on innovation and being able to show things that other people aren't just going to be able to do or even think of doing. We're definitely playing to win.
Traditionalists might struggle with your layout, I'm guessing, because you've gone and drilled a big hole in the middle there.
So this is the Deeping project. It's turn of the 20th century where British engineers have been tasked with being the first to dig to the centre of the Earth. And here we've got a molten core that we're going to send right through the centre of our layout. This is more of like a cross-section.
How far down are you going?
Well, we're only going 2 foot, but I'd say in scale that must be quite deep.
Wow, journeys to the centre of the Earth seldom go well. When miniature scientists on the Rivet's layout descend towards the planet's glowing molten core aboard an animated platform, they'll have their trip cut short by a massive underground explosion that will reveal long-buried artefacts and endanger a nearby workshop and coal mine. Oof, hot stuff.
We've also got some absolutely wonderful animations, things you've never seen in the hobby before.
Well, Kathy, what do you think then?
I think there's a lot of height, which is nice to see. You know, I'm intrigued where some of these are going to go to and how they're going to join up. And there's a lot of animations, which I think will be key to a good final result. Plus, whatever this is going to look like.
Yes.
It's certainly ambitious. Green, you better get back to work.
Brilliant.
Many
yes.
thanks.
Thank you.
a lot.
Thanks.
As the track laying and wiring gets underway, the Titfield Thunderbolts get a shock.
Basically, we have a problem with a short circuit somewhere along this helix. It's something to do with the wiring and how it's been wired up.
We've got blue flashes.
And that's usually not a good sign.
Meanwhile, the rivets are already building up a head of steam.
There we go. That works.
By contrast, the Maverick 3 millers don't even plan to test their track today.
At the moment, we are going to fit Chris's lock gates. We can't let the water get onto the other two baseboards, so we've got to restrict the water to the area where it's meant to be. And that's going to be our biggest challenge this afternoon.
Over on the Ealing comedy-inspired Thunderbolts board, the wiring's turning into a farce.
We've got a serious issue with our wiring. It's dead. I've tested with a different outlet on our controller and it's still not working. So I'm at a real loss at the moment.
Day one of this Uncharted Territory themed heat, and our teams are boldly going where no modelers have gone before. Who's Counting Rivets have promised us a layout crammed with high-tech gadgetry.
This will be connected to a button on the layout, and once I press the contacts, we'll get the molten rocks then glowing.
The 3 millers are going to deliberately flood their layout with water.
Our main priority today is to get the water tested. If we get that through by the end of the day, we'll be up on schedule.
And the hugely ambitious Titfield Thunderbolts have promised an action-packed adventure, but with their wiring tying them in knots, can they deliver?
Track's got to be laid, we've got the razors to do, we've got to reconnect where we chopped at the boards. So, yes, a lot of testing to do.
Despite the fact his team have only recently met, Captain Kevin is confident they can still achieve great things.
We're a team of individuals, 6 of us, all dotted around the country. I stand out already, and I've got 5 guys who are going to stand out as well. Their own skills, personalities will all come into the modelling, and then hopefully that will translate itself into the actual layout itself. I honestly believe our team can win.
And Kevin also believes he has what it takes to be team captain.
I was put in a kids' home when I was 6 weeks old. Kids' homes are hard places to grow up, but you have to learn to stand on your own 2 feet and get on with it. It teaches you leadership. I'm a battlefield general. When the pressure comes on, I will get it sorted. You know, I don't buckle.
Each team is permitted to include 6 pre-built scenic items on their layouts. Kevin's item makes up part of his layout's treasure hunt adventure story.
Kevin, this is one of your pre-builds, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you've scratch-built this. You've made the ship from balsa wood, a very light wood.
Balsa wood, and each piece, each plank is individual.
So all these are individual pieces that you've bonded together and then fashioned into the shape afterwards?
Yes. What I want to give you is a 3-dimensional model that you can look from any angle and it looks like the real McCoy.
Other than the boat, the water to me is just beautiful.
I love water. Water comes alive and you don't have to treat it.
That is amazing. Look at that. Look at the way it sparkles. Have there been times in your life where people have challenged your ability?
All the time.
Really?
All the time. You'll always come against barriers and people who say you can't do it, and I like to prove them wrong. I am capable of doing things, so if people get inspiration from what I can do, then I think that's worthwhile.
And to anyone who's ever doubted you, stick that in the old...
There's a proof, and if I can do it, I'm sure that you can do it if you just put a bit of time and effort.
No, I disagree. Honestly, I'm sorry. I spent my life trying to make things as detailed and as good as that. It's just not going to happen. Some people just can't do it. Right. And you possess a huge amount of skill.
Mid-afternoon on day one of the competition, and things are hotting up in the display room.
Give it a second, it needs to warm up.
Give it some smoke, give it some smoke.
Yes, there we go. We are in steam.
As a rule, model railways don't come with plumbing. Then again, not all model railways are built by the 3 millers.
Whack it in, as they say.
Yep, OK.
We're putting some silicon sealant underneath the perspex just to stop it leaking.
This is the star of the show, so it's got to work.
Who's Counting Rivets are going hard on clever tech, because when the going gets tough, this tech keeps going.
Now, I hear that you guys have come up with a solution to something which is potentially a massive problem in model railway making, which is a break in power to the train on the track.
It's called a stay alive, and it does what it says on the tin. It keeps the engine alive if it loses power.
And the thing that is making this possible is basically that, which is called a capacitor. And it stores the energy inside it, and when you need it, that thing can be your get out of jail for free. Have you tried taking it off the track whilst it's charged? Like, can I just try it? Can I take it off?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is such a simple piece of electronics there, which could be the difference between you going through to the semis and not. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Meanwhile, for the Thunderbolts, things are really going Titfields up.
We have a bit of an issue in the fact that when we demonstrate the layout, we demonstrate it from that side, but none of the cables are long enough to reach that side because we've been wiring it from this end. So we're going to have to somehow rewire it, and we've only got that much wire left. Kev, we've got a problem, mate.
Captain Kevin to the rescue. Here he is.
We've hit a bit of a small snag on our layout.
Yeah.
Have you got any spare wire, please?
I think I can let you have a red. They'll give us some points.
Well, I wasn't thinking so much of points, but if they got any more of that stuff left over...
We have. I'll tell you what, I'll exchange you.
Yeah,
Is that
that'd
fair?
be great.
Is that fair? I'll
sounds like a
exchange
plan.
you, mate. Yeah, mate.
Oh, Kevin, you're a star.
I know.
Stop press. In a surprise move, the three millers have finally decided to do some conventional modelling on their layout.
I'm making a side of a building that was in Holland before the storm in 1953. Working from 3mm, you have to make it all yourself. So am I enjoying this venture? Not really, because there is a pressure. I've never finished anything. When you look at something, you make it, oh, that's jolly good, but then I know jolly well that little corner's not quite right. And I always claim that on my epitaph it will be the date of birth and the date I died, the only thing he ever finished.
As day one of this heat draws to a close, it's time for the judges to consider how creatively the teams have interpreted the brief and award provisional points based on what they've seen so far.
Well, that first day of this challenge has really left me hungry to see how these three layouts are going to turn out. Titfield Thunderbolt, what do you think about their plans creatively?
My only worry, there's just so much. Will they actually deliver it and make it look like a coherent layout?
In terms of imagination and the amount of ideas they're willing to try, what mark would you give them?
For creativity, if they deliver everything they have planned, definitely a 4.
I agree with Kathy. There's certainly plenty of adventure, but whether they've got the cohesion to pull it together, I don't know. I'm going to forecast a 3. If they pull it off, it could well be adjusted upwards.
Creatively speaking, then, what do you guys think of the three millers?
It's a truly experimental piece of modelling. I've never seen this done before, so wow, if they can really make the water move, then yeah, I'm going to predict a 4.
Kathy?
It is creative, but the rest of the layout's kind of a little bit flat.
Like the Netherlands.
Yeah, I just feel like the tide going in and out is the only thing that's creative on that layout. So I'm going to be really stingy and give them a 3.
Let's talk then about who's counting rivets. What do you think, Steve?
Well, they're modelling the surface quite well, of course, with lots of animations, but the subterranean bit is really quite modest. So a provisional score for creativity is 4.
They have a nice traditional layout on the top, and then they've got the molten lava core with all the dinosaurs and UFOs, etc., to just add that little bit of pizzazz. I'm going with a 4 too.
I'm fascinated to see how this plays out.
It's going to be riveting, whether anyone's counting or not.
So, it's hardcore techno crew. Who's counting rivets? Who set the early pace? But this contest is a marathon and not a sprint. And there's still plenty of time for the others to catch up.
Technically, that's true, Tim, but unless the Thunderbolts sort their wiring out soon, the only thing they'll be catching is the bus home.
hate wiring. I don't know why I'm the one doing it. And it doesn't help that you've got a joiner working on it.
And Judge Steve is concerned it's not just their circuits that are falling short of the required standard.
The Titfield Thunderbolts layout is minging. If they're going anywhere in this competition, they'd better get it fettled, and pronto.
Day 2 here at Fawley Hill, and our teams have certainly taken our theme on board this week. We've got one lot busy burrowing to the centre of the earth, another about to pour water on live rails, and a third team doing Uncharted that so far barely got started. 2 layouts look way out, the others are having a bit of a day out. How will it play out?
As the teams enter the arena on day 2, only Who's Counting Rivets have the satisfaction of knowing they've tested their track.
Yes, there we go. Yesterday was a good day. We made really good progress. Today we want to keep that momentum up and get our scenics down before the end of the day.
Whereas Titfield Thunderbolts are still reeling from yesterday's chaos.
We know we've got a lot to get done today. Hopefully we should be able to test all the trains on all the tracks before we start messing the whole place up again.
Today, the focus is on build quality, and Judge Steve is more than happy to continue his constructive critique of the Thunderbolt's track laying.
Crikey, look at the gradients on that. It's like a ruddy ski jump.
Meanwhile, adrenaline junkies, the 3 Millers, are about to risk everything and flood their layouts with real water.
We're obviously a bit nervous about this because if the tank doesn't work, then our demonstration tomorrow is going to be distinctly underwhelming.
A leaky lock gate or an electrical short will spell disaster for the 3 Millers. It's squeaky bum time for Wim.
Now, what are we seeing here?
Well, the water will come up from an aquarium pump through this plastic tube. It will then spread out over the layout as if the tide was coming in. And then we're going to do a visual check round to see if we've got any problems.
We're pretty hopeful, but just in case we've got these emergency sponges in place.
OK, make us swim, Wim.
Yep.
Oh. Wim, given how much of your layout depends on this, how nervous are you feeling right now?
Pretty nervous.
What happens if this doesn't work?
We don't have a plan B, so...
It's actually running through the water.
I never thought anybody would be daft enough to put an electric train through a puddle of water.
Wim, you must be very proud.
That, for me, is absolutely brilliant. I had expected the train to stop running as soon as the water reached the top surface of the rails.
Why is it working?
Well, water is not that good a conductor. And if the resistance across the water is less than the resistance through the electric motor, then the current will still go through the electric motor.
Yeah, of course I'm impressed. Taxi for Titfield Thunderbolts.
Despite the time constraints of the competition, on day 2, one member of each team must compete in the Scratch Build Challenge. Here, modellers must repurpose unusual items and integrate them seamlessly into their layouts. The winner will be awarded 2 bonus points.
Underestimate the Scratch Build Challenge at your peril. Not only does it reveal the true calibre of the modellers we have here, those 2 points could be vital.
I know you're against the clock already, but I'm going to make your life harder by giving you 3 random items. Now, the first item is...
You didn't take that, did you?
one of your swords. Well, in fact, 3 of your swords. So, that's the first one.
I'm not sure you should be throwing swords.
OK, that's all right. They're plastic. Right, there you go, Sam. A tambourine. Can you catch these quietly, please? And the final one, shuttlecock. Nice catch. Do you play batters? No. Will you play badminton? Blatantly. That's it. That's your 3 items, and your time starts now. Go.
In typical Thunderbolt style, Haron is feeling the pressure.
So I've just got the items back, and what the hell do I do with these?
Whereas Charlie is exhibiting the Rivet trademark confidence.
We're going to play some data competition and get those points.
Also playing to type is Wim. No stranger to danger, he has a typically daring plan for the Scratch build.
I've got no problem with building a railway that has bizarre things on it, but it's not really appropriate for what we're building here. I've got a rather surreal approach to it that I'm going to see if I get away with that. Let's put it that way.
While the scratch-building alchemists attempt to create gold from a load of old tat, their teammates crack on with the layouts themselves. Serial overachievers, who's counting rivets, are making great strides with their scenics.
I don't want to count our chickens before they hatch, but it's looking really good at the moment.
But after a successful water test, the 3 millers are now giving the youngsters a run for their money as their authentic Dutch scenics begin to take shape in the design room.
You've built, Wim, a machine for corrugating little bits of model plastic to put on your roofs.
This is a small vacuum forming machine. So the way it works is you create yourself a chamber. In the bottom of the chamber, you put your mould.
Right.
Over the top of it, you put plastic.
Right.
You get a hot air gun, blow it on the plastic, plastic goes soft, then you switch on the vacuum cleaner, which you've connected here. That sucks the air out from underneath.
Right.
The soft plastic now goes down onto the mould.
Yep.
Then you take that out, and then you get a piece of the plastic shaped like that.
Well, absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for showing this.
Meanwhile, the scratch builders continue to beaver away.
Teams, you have 10 minutes left, and that is it.
And with the deadline looming, Wim appears to be losing his edge.
Try cutting this polythene with this saw. It's absolutely impossible.
Remember, you've only got 10 minutes left.
It'll take about 10 minutes to cut that.
How long have I got left?
About 5 minutes.
Right.
Teams, 2 minutes of the scratch build challenge. 1 minute left.
Oh, it's too bloody thin.
Right, 1 minute left.
Don't worry about it.
You sure you got all your items in now? Everything should be in place right now.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The scratch build challenge has concluded. Please step back. That's it, we're done. Good lad. Right, Charlie, me old mucker, I've given you a shuttlecock, a sword and a tambourine. What have you done with them?
Well, for us, the tambourine skin was taken off. It's been used as tarpaulins on our wagons. The banding from around the side has been reused along with the rivets. The sword has been used as the cutting face of the mine shaft.
Great. What else have you got?
We have the rivets that we used to hold the sword together. It's been used to look like axles for machinery parts go inside the workshop.
Is that everything?
The shuttlecock has been used, if you can't spot it.
I can't see it at all. Where is it?
On the back scene, it is being used as geonetting.
That is designed to catch falling rock. Right, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4 and a high five.
Yep.
Well done, mate.
Cheers.
Good stuff. Right, Haroon, where are your 3 scratch build items?
The tambourine I have converted into a septic tank.
With the diving board? I'm not going in there.
It's meant to be an inspection platform, that's why I put a bit of a fence around it.
Right.
The sword, some of it has been used as a bridge support. We've got the shark fins over there, circling around that poor hapless soldier. Those are made from bits of the end of the sword. And over there, I've used the shuttlecock and made it into a little wigwam.
Well done, Haroon.
Thank
Nice
you.
one. Right, Wim, the scratch build challenge, where have you hidden them?
Well, I haven't hidden them anywhere, actually. I rather gave up the idea of how do I hide a tambourine and a shuttlecock in a Dutch landscape and thought, if you were a little person and you wanted to make a statue or a sculpture of a tambourine that size and a shuttlecock that size, how would you do it? Well, here we are. Here we have a train with materials for the shuttlecock and the tambourine being delivered.
Right, so those wagons are carrying parts of a shuttlecock and parts of a tambourine to go somewhere to make the shuttlecock and tambourine that I gave you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm stumped. And dare I ask where the sword is?
Well, I managed to break it, but didn't get so far as actually using it.
Right, there we are then. Thanks very much. Cheers, Wim.
OK. I didn't take the scratch build challenge as seriously as some might have done. If I were to win the 2 points, I'd be distinctly embarrassed.
Kathy, the scratch build challenge. Let's start with the elephant in the room. It needs to be mentioned first. Wim with the 3 millers. What's happened there?
They just didn't take it seriously, did they?
I know. It's not like they invented the tambourine over there in the Netherlands or the badminton shuttlecock. So why would they want huge sculptures of those things?
These aren't just huge, these are massive. I mean, that tambourine, the person's this big, the tambourine's this big. I mean, nobody would ever build a statue that big.
So let's go to the rivets. What do you reckon?
Those 12 Paulins were excellent. And I really like the geonetting where they caught the rocks. I thought that was really clever.
Let's go down to the other end of the room, the Titfield guys, where Haroon looked like he enjoyed himself.
I was really impressed. I thought they used all the items, they used them well. I liked what they'd done with them, and there was a little bit of humour in there.
So who wins the scratch build challenge and gets those vital 2 points?
It's going to be the Titfield Thunderbolts.
2 points to them, then?
Yes.
All right, lads, I've got some news about the scratch built challenge.
Go on, then.
We've won!
It's a real morale boost having won the scratch build challenge. A few hours ago, when other teams were testing their layouts, it was a little bit demotivating, but now having won that, we feel like we're back in the game.
Although they're running later than scheduled, there's more good news for the Titfield Thunderbolts.
Well, that's running OK. That's the final piece of track, wired, tested and working. So, yeah, I'm a happy man now.
Meanwhile, unexpectedly, a chink appears in the rivet's armour. Has Captain Guillaume been writing checks his animations can't cash?
Right, bad news.
Blown it.
Yeah, I've actually... I've blown it, yeah. Our microcontroller has decided to go pop when I decided to put in our power supply. This board was going to allow the core to actually produce the luminous red light, but unfortunately, because of this now, it's just a dingy black hole.
Woo! The end of a breathless day 2, and time for the judges to dish out their predicted points for build quality.
Steve, let's begin with Titfield Thunderbolts, where a lot of dust has settled.
Aspects of the scenery are beginning to show some promise, but the incline transition is the steepest I've ever seen on a model railway. I don't think any of the trains will run up it. And their working practices are terrible. As far as I'm concerned, they're only on track for a 2.
What do you think, Kathy?
There were definitely some very large gaps on some of the track, on corners where I'd be worried you might derail with such a big gap. They're certainly not the tidiest modellers I've seen on this competition. They're probably not actually the worst either. I'm going to go with a 2, though.
Whereas the track in the middle, the 3 millers, were able to run a train through water and back again without any problems at all.
What impressed me most about that piece of modelling were the floodgates. These were really well made. That's a superb piece of engineering. I'm going to forecast a 4 for this team.
Kathy, would you agree?
To me, it just seems a little flat, and they needed a little bit more track to show off that complexity. There's a huge amount of white glue they've just poured in. I can imagine by tomorrow morning when they need to paint it, it will just be skinned, but it won't be dry underneath. So I'm going to give them a 3.
Let's talk then about the third team. Who's counting rivets? Steve, what are you making of their layout 2 days in?
Well, I'm a little disappointed here. The track laying was done very well indeed, but they blew their circuit board. As far as I'm concerned, Who's Counting Rivets is on target for 3 points for build quality.
But they have built far more than any of the other 2 teams at the moment.
Yeah, and I like the track. There's the odd gap, but it's generally quite well laid.
So, Kathy, build quality for those guys?
I'm going to give them a solid 3.
This is the only show on TV where, come the final reckoning, the judges will dock points if they feel teams haven't delivered the goods. That means that any of these teams could still snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, but as things stand, the 3 millers have now closed the gap on Who's Counting Rivets, and the Thunderbolts are back in the hunt thanks to their triumph in the Scratch Build Challenge.
We're going to really work as a team tomorrow. We'll all be hands on deck, pushing and pushing right up to the last minute.
But Danger Man Wim still has a sticky issue to deal with.
We put the PVA glue in because we had 2 small leaks after the test this morning. If it doesn't go to plan and the demonstration is a failure, that would be a huge disappointment to us. That is what I'm nervous about.
and the previously confident Guion is beginning to look a little twitchy.
It's absolutely critical that the electronics are sorted, ready for judging tomorrow, because without those electronics, none of our animations are going to be working. If I was going to rate my stress today out of 10, I'd say it's a good 11 at the moment.
Final day of our Uncharted challenge, and which team is going to go through to the semi-finals? The Titfield Thunderbolts have made a lightning recovery. They have a dog collar. Could they now take the lead? What of the three Millers and their Dinky Dutch Dyke diorama, sort of a three Millers crossing? Or the Riveters, could their journey to the Earth's core earn them the high score? It's all to play for.
On the final day, the teams must focus on the animations that will take their layouts into Uncharted Territory.
Who's Counting Rivets won early creativity points by promising a working factory, animated passengers and glowing lava. If they now fail to deliver, the judges will come down hard on them.
Core test going on now. That's brilliant.
Winning the scratch build has left the Thunderbolts just 1 point off the lead, and they now have a few surprises in store that they hope will close the gap further.
We've got two smoke effects, the effect that we're using on the volcano, and then we've got smoke that will arise when our plane crashes in a poof.
But with their waterworks tested and most of their scenics in place, our co-leaders, the three Millers, home and dry.
I'm just admiring these superb houses. I'm really impressed by your handiwork. Absolutely fantastic.
Although the Titfield Thunderbolts are now back on track, they still need to deliver an action-adventure packed with serious thrills and spills.
Oh, hi, Haroon. Tell us a little bit about this tiger moth.
This is just simply a kit I've built. It's going to come in at an angle and then crash land on part of the layout.
How concerned are you about the fact that you haven't actually had a chance to test it before you show it to the judges?
I'm quite concerned with it.
If this doesn't fly in and crash,
yeah,
that can make a huge difference.
Definitely.
Well, you pulled it out in the Scratch Build Challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you can do it again with this.
Let's hope so.
Feeling the Thunderbolts' hot breath on their neck, three Millers have whipped out another feature that they're hoping will raise the roof.
Well, we put an animation in last night, this little flag house here, which is working quite nicely. I don't think any of the judges have seen this yet, so we're hoping that they're going to be impressed.
By way of contrast, the director of Who's Counting Rivets is struggling to motivate his supporting cast.
I'm just programming the board that's going to be controlling Mr. Chairman, our figure on the platform. Come on, please, please. That's a problem already.
Attention teams, you have 10 minutes remaining.
It's the final countdown, but it doesn't look like the Thunderbolts are heading to Venus. Their star animation has just been sent crashing back down to Earth.
Oh,
where's Chairman's head? There.
Right, it's been shot down.
Yeah.
I've lost the head of the Chairman. Can someone help me find it, please? I need a head. Oh my gosh, this is a disaster.
While Guion's losing his head, Captain Wim is coming unstuck.
We've got a load of glue here that won't dry, and it means that this lock gate doesn't have its sealing mechanism. We can shut it, but it won't be sealed.
Teams, you have just 2 minutes remaining. Make them count.
I need to be able to get my fingers in there.
Yes, no, I understand that. Yeah. Have small arms like me, it's easy.
Right, I need clean hands. Can someone give me something to clean my hands with?
20, 19,
Undo that.
18,
Right off.
17, 16, 15,
How do we get this off?
14, 13, 12, 11, 10 seconds remaining. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. That is it. All modelers, please step back from your layouts. Do not touch another item. Give yourselves a round of applause. Well done. You have completed the layout.
Well done, lads.
You completed the Great Model Railway Challenge. Well done. Well done, Luke.
Time's up for our 3 teams and their Uncharted Territory layouts. It's now up to Kathy and Steve to judge their creations.
First to demonstrate are the Titfield Thunderbolts. After crash landing in the jungle, 2 action heroes must grab the treasure and traverse hostile territory whilst Allied forces fight off the encroaching Nazis. Let's hope the wiring holds so they can complete their daring mission.
I must admit, I doubted, Kevin, that you were actually going to get all of this stuff done, but I owe you an apology because the layout is here, and given that the jungle is massive, can I start by saying, run the rhythm?
OK, well, first off, obviously, we've got our heroes going to go in. Off we go.
Oh, jeepers, yeah.
Crash landing. Smoke and everything.
They're not getting out of that, I'm thinking.
And they're now going to escape by train. And then from there, they enter the first mountain where they will actually go down a helix, which is going to take a little while. So in the meantime, the Nazis are going to come down by the docks because they want to investigate to see if the British are anywhere.
This gradient here is the one, Steve, you said you didn't think a train could...
Yeah, look at that, smooth as a pancake.
Look at that.
I eat my words.
That's as steep as you get on a model rail. Oh!
Oh, no, it's still there. Now the British are arriving to take on the Nazis. And then from this point, there's a gun battle that will take place between the two. And then what will happen is the Nazis will obviously retreat hastily that way.
Well, when you say hastily...
Yeah, when
Mine,
there
we're on. Oh, no, we're not.
No!
Right, try that. All right,
OK,
go
off
back
she goes.
on again.
And the final part we have are 2 intrepid heroes on their tank engine making their way down to the docks, to the boat where they will make their escape.
They're still in the helix.
That's it.
Oh, and here they are, look at that. It's got bigger as well.
Well, it's just got closer, Tim.
Oh, he's got closer.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on. Oh, it's off the track. We have a derailment.
Right.
It's a minor issue.
Is that because it's too tight, the helix, or...?
No, it's been working perfectly, so I don't know why.
Down they go. Your layout is actually on fire for real. Whereas some teams want to get smoke, you've just set fire to your layout to create the same effect, which is great.
Once they're at docks, they will actually unload the treasure, and then once the treasure is unloaded onto the boat will sail away.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Titfield Thunderbolts.
Next up, high wire artists, the 3 Millers, who are risking it all on a layout to remember. They intend to recreate the North Sea floods that ravaged the Netherlands in 1953. But if their lock gates don't hold, the real water they're using will flood their layout and wreck their chances.
3 Millers. Here we are in Zeeland in 1953 with Luctor et Emergo. What does that mean, Wim?
Luctor et Emergo is the motto of the province of Zeeland, and it means I struggle and I'll rise up, as the province did many times in history, most recently in 1953.
Wim, this is a high wire rack. Have you tested it since yesterday?
No.
All right. We're all looking forward to seeing the water coming in here, because all we can do at the moment is Zeeland.
Please stop. Come on, where he goes again.
Yes. So if someone can operate the pump, we will bring the tide in.
Here comes the mucky water.
That's the North Sea, all right, isn't it?
It really makes a big difference seeing it with the brown water as opposed to yesterday. It was a lovely clear water. It looks...
Yes, we used clean water yesterday.
So the tide has come in?
The tide has come in.
We can see the track is disappearing here under the water. Steve, what's going through your head as you're watching this?
It's working.
And still nothing coming out on that side?
Absolutely watertight.
Amazing.
Wim, you look nervous. You're biting your nails. What are you thinking about?
I'm just wondering where else it might be leaking that I can't see.
We have just a little bit of seepage here now, but it's still holding most of the water back.
Ladies and gentlemen, the track is now completely submerged. That's worthy of a round of applause. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but for being crazy, it's there. That's a nervous man.
Yeah. OK, can we let the water out now?
As quick as you like. So we're now draining the track. This is the tide going out.
The tide is going out.
Exposing the track once again. Does anyone here think this is going to work when we run a train across it?
That includes me, by the way.
No pressure. Shall we give it a go, guys? We want to see that stuff. Come on, then.
So if we can open the gates, guys.
OK.
And the other one?
The gates are open. The track is exposed. Do we want to see the train make it across the track, yeah? Right, Wim, this is it. The pressure is on. Let's see if it works or not. This will be a world first, an electric train making it through the water. Whoa, keep it going. Yes, nearly there.
OK. Wow. Excellent. Wim, you and the three Millers have looked toward and you've emergoed. A round of applause to you.
Absolutely. Defying the laws of science. And finally, who's counting rivets, who are going underground with their layout. These next-generation modelers have the latest tech on their side. They've promised a glowing molten core, underground explosions, and a multitude of miniature animations. Having promised the judges the Earth, can they still deliver?
Who's counting rivets? You prepared for us this, at the centre of which there is a project to drill to the centre of the Earth, which is anything, frankly, but boring, because you've got all sorts of stuff here. You've got tracks all over the place going back and fro. You've got animations. You've got a headless man on the platform.
OK, come on, let's see it.
OK, so how about we get some trains running? We have here a shuttle with a Baldwin, and here a 9F with smoke filters.
Look at that. So what are these trains doing?
The narrow gauge is taking cleared stone from the quarry. We have the Baldwin over here moving machine parts.
Brilliant. Everything's running really smoothly. Now, over there, Charlie's workshop. Is there any way we could possibly get a peek inside?
We are able to remove the side to reveal a fully equipped workshop. And if you see in the end here, we have the stationary engine running.
That's actually an internal combustion engine which is operating.
Is it working?
It is. I can see it moving.
Guillaume, when you were about to start the layout, you'd mentioned plans for lots of animated figures. How's that worked out?
So, unfortunately, it didn't go quite as planned. We had a couple of issues. We didn't manage to finish it.
Should we talk about this, then, which is the centrepiece of the Deeping project?
This is the pit of which we've been boring to the centre of the Earth. And here we have the blade of Deeping and the crane here that is hoisting the platform up and down the shaft, removing some of the spoils.
There we go, look at that.
So, as we're digging into the centre of the Earth, our blade has had a bit of trouble, so we are now resorting to explosives.
Great, and here we go.
In 3, 2, 1.
Oh, wow.
The explosives have now gone off. The alarm starts sounding. There's an earthquake occurring. The trains retreat to safe distance. At this point, the lava at the core starts to erupt.
Erupting.
Ah, how do they do that?
It's with motors, isn't it? This train's struggling, but everything's moving. Give it up for who's counting rivets, please, guys. Well done. Very good.
After 3 exhausting days, the demonstrations are over, and the fate of our teams now rest in the hands of the judges.
Is it sink or swim for the 3 Millers?
Overall, I'm delighted with the way the demonstration went. It was a real skin-of-the-teeth job, and we did it, and the audience seemed to like it.
Have the Titfield Thunderbolts gone off the rails?
I'm really happy what the lads have done. If we were fortunate either to win this heat or even get picked as a wild card, I think it will be a tremendous achievement.
and have Who's Counting Rivets overpromised and underdelivered with their animations.
I think we started off quite well, but as it went on, it got a lot more stressful, and in the end, I was almost losing my head there.
Welcome back to this Uncharted Territory themed Great Model Railway Challenge. Having demonstrated their layouts, all the teams can do now is wait while the judges deliberate.
Only the winners will automatically advance to the semi-finals.
Have we all got our breath back? That was dramatic, wasn't it?
It was. That was great.
Let's have a quick chat then about functionality, the big one, the thing which more than anything determines who goes through to the next round. And Kathy, give us your thoughts on the Titfield Thunderbolts.
Well, it was a mixed bag for them. They had a couple of derailments. On the other hand, I really liked that plane crash. The smoke coming up looked really good. There was a lot of interest on there.
Steve?
Well, out of chaos sprung a little bit of order. They got their trains to run. There were some derailments, but they did get their train down the bit, which I referred to as a ski slope.
Let's talk then about the three Millers and their dynamic and visually spectacular attempt to run a train across a previously moist bit of track.
The tide went out, the gates opened, the signalman raised his green flag, and with a bit of a stutter at first, the train got through. And the floodgates, they worked almost perfectly.
Kathy?
They had one loop of track. The water worked well, but this is still a model railway challenge, and I think you need to have more than one train doing one loop to really impress me.
OK, then, on to the final team, Who's Counting Rivets. They had a quarry, it was full of stuff. The stuff worked, Kathy. What did you think?
Wow, 4 trains running all the time. And they had animations too.
Not as many animations as they'd suggested they were going to.
I do believe that's the one flaw. They did overpromise.
I really like that molten Earth's core effect. Beautiful modelling. It's a pity, though, that they hadn't included more subterranean levels with trains running through the underworld. I think that would have been much more adventurous.
One thing's for sure, those 3 teams out there thoroughly enjoyed themselves and put on 3 great shows, didn't they?
And somebody now has got a very tough decision.
Have you guys enjoyed yourself?
Yeah!
Do you want to come back?
Yeah!
Can we give these guys a round of applause, please? Great showmen. Thank you very much. Great entertainment. Great modellers.
Absolutely. All 3 layouts were absolutely spectacular. You really ran with our invitation to take it off the charts, but now it's time to find out who finished top of ours. Judges?
The winning team is... Who's Counting Rivets?
The Rivets are through to the semis. Sadly for the others, they're out of this year's contest because their scores haven't topped the current highest runners-up, Team Phoenix from Heat 2.
We're very pleased with what we've done. We set out to do something memorable. I think we've done that. Who were those guys who were mad enough to flood their layout?
Wow, we've seen some really innovative modelling today, but what put the Rivets ahead was their imagination and their flawless track work.
Even though we didn't win, absolutely amazing. We've been a cracking few days, cracking people. We've just had a fabulous time.
I've got no one but myself to blame for overpromising on the animations, but thankfully the team was able to carry me the rest of the way. Now it's onwards and upwards.
Top modelling. There's much more to come from these guys.
Next time, it's the last of the heats. The final 3 teams will build layouts that reach for the stars with the theme, The Sky's the Limit. There'll be takeoffs, takedowns...
Just killed the alien.
But who will triumph?
And the winner is...
Don't miss that tomorrow at 8 as the series moves to Saturdays. The House of York has had its fair share of scandal, with the Duke never far from the headlines. Prince Andrew and Scandal in the House of York is brand new tomorrow at 9:20. Putting together the troubling pieces inside the cockpit, the Concorde crash remembers an aviation marvel next.